Hi, my name is Rakapin, and welcome to Mastering Mixology. Jagex. Change Irit to Mox. Please, I beg you. I'll explain why later on in the video, but please, if you're listening, change Irit to Mox. Thank you. Anyways, for the rest of you, welcome. We finally get to use up our herbs. I've been waiting for this minigame for about 6 months, and yeah, I was actually quite excited to get on this morning and start getting into this. So I made this spreadsheet, or I started making this spreadsheet about a month ago or so in preparation for this. This spreadsheet is designed to help me identify which herbs go the furthest or do the most in the minigame, so that if the minigame is deemed not really worthwhile at the end of it after greenlogging it, I minimize the amount of experience that I'm using for this. I'm sure at some point the Wikipedia will have it on a per herb basis and have a table and all that stuff, but given that it's the first day and they're busy doing a bunch of quests and bosses and stuff, it probably won't be done for a while yet on the wiki. So use the spreadsheet until then. This is just to get you on the ground running, so at least you can start on the minigame today. Because I know, like me, you probably are wanting that potion storage and that pre-pot device. So anyway, so let's get in the spreadsheet here. I'll break it down and kind of explain, what's all going on here. And, hopefully this can help you decide which herbs to use and which ones you may want to hold off on. Anyway, so this spreadsheet is set up so that it is the amount of experience that you are foregoing by using the herb on the minigame instead of making a potion outside the minigame. I have it set up right now in the sense that I only care about herb experience, so I don't really care about the end product of the potions. I want the most experience per herb for me. And so the way to use the spreadsheet is to use this column here. The drop-down box has all the potions that each one can make. Some notable differences that may be surprising to you is that Avanto fishing potion, it uses snapegrass versus the Mortmire fungus. It's only slightly less experience. I think it's maybe 5 per potion, but I have a ton of snapegrass from the 200 mil farming grind that it's easier for me to do, and I don't think going out of my way for 5 experience to get the Mortmire fungus is worth it to me. So I just make potions, or the fishing potions. Dwarfweed, yes, if you have Nihil shards and the white lilies, you would be doing that, but the most common potion I make is ranging potion, just because wines are a lot easier to get than the other two. And then Torstals, you probably are used to making super combats. I want more experience, and therefore I make Zami Brews, and they're a lot less annoying to make. Oh, I forgot. Hairlander, I have a ton of desert goat horns from the Corp grind. That's why I make combat potions. They're also the most experience per Haralander herb. So anyway, go through the list, pick the potions that you would be making instead. That will give you the potion experience that you are foregoing by doing this minigame. This column here is just what you have banked. So just enter in all the amount of herbs that you have banked or will buy to bank. From there, this thing will calculate how much banked experience you have. I have 17 million banked based on the values input here. And yeah, this column is the basis, and by default, I have it set to the potion experience that you are foregoing. So onto the minigame part itself, you'll notice that they're broken up into basically 3 sections here. The low-level herbs make Mox, the mid-level herbs make Lie, and the high-level herbs make Aga. When you refine one herb, you get this much of the raw ingredient paste, and you'll notice that's a little bit different than what you were probably expecting, because in the blogs they were always referring to them with single digits 1, 2, 3, 4. By multiplying by 10, it allows them to do essentially a decimal place for this stuff. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, it's 10, 13, 15, so it's like 1.3, 1.5, because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for Haralander to be worth 4 times that of Guam. So by doing that, I'm glad to see that they ended up going that route, because again, it gives them a little more refined control over how much each of the herbs give. This is just the type. So for every herb that you grind up, you'll get 6 experience in the grinder, making the raw ingredients. That's just a flat baseline. It doesn't matter what herb type. It doesn't matter. It's just a flat 6. This column is per herb, using up all of the ingredients in potions, how much you're going to get when you turn in the potion at the very end. Each of the 3 types has a certain basis. Per 10, Mox gives 45, Og gives 85, and Lie gives 125 per 10. You need 10 of each ingredient for 1/3 of a potion, and each potion has a random number of Mox, Aga, or Lie. So if you have 3 times Mox, you'll make 135. If you have 3 times Lie, and 3 times, or Aga and 3 times Lie. So if it's a triple M potion, you'll get 135. Triple A potion, you get 255. Triple L potion, you get 375. That's all this number is. So in the minigame, when you use an herb, the total experience that you're getting per herb is this number plus this number. So in this case, it'd be 51. The most important column to talk about now is this ratio. This is the cost per. I really should call it a ratio, so we'll call it ratio. So what this is this is the amount of experience that you're going to get for the herb in the minigame divided by the potion that you are not making. So in this case, for Guam, using the Guam in the minigame versus making an attack potion will get you 2.04 times the experience in the minigame. So it's worth it. It doesn't go below 1. It wouldn't make a lot of sense for the minigame to provide less than 1 experience, because then you're just losing experience using it in the minigame. It's color coordinated so that as a baseline, it starts from 1 and then as high as it can go, essentially. And the higher, the better. So for this case, if you have Guam, or if you have a choice of Guam, because it's green, you're going to want to do Guam. So for me, I'm going to be using Guams for all of my Moxes. Looking at the Lies, Ranner and Snapdragon seem to be the 2 highest ones. A little bit unfortunate because those are the prayer potions and they're the most useful of them, but whatever. And then of the Aga, we've got Irid at 2.6, although I will probably be using Dwarfweed just because I don't have a whole lot of wines and I just seem to get Dwarfweed endlessly from everywhere, even if I don't plant it. So I'd rather do that and then use Irid in the potion itself, I think, maybe. And then after, if you've entered how many you've banked, it'll multiply through and tell you how many of each type you have, and then here it sums up. You'll notice there's a huge discrepancy in my Mox amount. That is because I don't have a good source of low-level herbs, and frankly, I don't want to. The only reason I have this many Guam is because I did 200 mil Hunter recently, and Herbivore gives you Guams, and if I had the choice, I'd say, hey, I don't want Guams from Herbivore, thinking like I'd be fine. I don't need them. I don't use Guams. Well, good thing I have them, otherwise I'd be absolutely screwed for this minigame. So back to my initial note that I said at the start of the video. Make Irit Mox, okay? The rest of them, fine, it makes sense. Irit should be Mox. It should be the 5th Mox, all right? And that's not just for, helping me out because I have a ton of Irit. Irit is like the baseline mid to late game herb that you get. That's like the lowest level herb. You get Cox. When you're doing farming contracts, the highest level ones, you get a ton of Irit seed. When I'm planting herbs on my herb runs, I don't plant anything less than Irit because the low level herbs are just not worth it. And Irit is like a baseline 100. It's a really easy ingredient to get for potion making. Irid is like the baseline herb that I plant on herb runs, and I think most people do. So if Jagex in the coming weeks changes this to Mox, so far, with what I've seen in the minigame, this is like the only change. These costs are fine. It focuses really heavily on blues, really heavily on the mid levels, and then not so much on the high levels. Why is Irit a high-level herb? I don't understand it. I don't know. In the meantime, if you do have a lot of Irit, you may want to convert it into Aga, because I'm speculating they're going to change it to Mox, okay? I'm calling it now. They're changing it to Mox. hopefully. Anyway, and so then here we've got the rewards based on their current point totals in the shop, and they're relatively fine. They look high, but again, every potion that you turn in is going to give you 10 of each of the ingredients that were used into it. That's why there's a 0 on all these. They probably set these beforehand and then multiplied them by 10 at the end. Otherwise, this would have been 225. Now it's 2250. So thankfully, because I have all the Guams, I have more than enough Nox to at least green log this. Now, unfortunately, I want to. The other reason I want to do this minigame is for the secondary, because I want to make those prayer restore pots. And as it stands now, it looks about right, 750. I have about enough Nox mocks for 750 of the secondaries, which is not great. Hopefully Jagex changes that to mocks. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully the spreadsheet helps you get started on this first day. And in a couple weeks after we greenlog it, we'll do a post analysis on it and just determine, hey, is this worthwhile? Hopefully they've made the changes, and we'll go from there. So again, thank you for watching, and see you in a couple weeks.